Hello students, I am Major SPS Oberoi. Welcome to ekamiasacademy. As we all know, very recently the Women Reservation Bill has been passed by the Lok Sabha and also the Rajya Sabha. So I thought using this opportunity, we'll organize a small group discussion with some of our students in the classroom. They are the students of our foundation batch and also some of them are from mentorship batch. So I thought we'll start a new series wherein we'll call the students on rotation basis, wherein we'll give the opportunity to the students to talk on the various issues that are happening. So in the series of these series that we are trying to talk, today discussion is the Women's Reservation Bill. So we'll dwell upon the provisions of the bill, we'll dwell upon certain positive take-home points of this bill. We also have critics in our panel. They are ready to counter any positive dimensions given. We also will try to give an international perspective in which all countries women are contributing more than the men maybe in some cases. So we'll dwell upon each and every dimension in detail. So before we start, I request one of our students, Tanmay, to give a brief prelude to the various key provisions that have been enumerated as part of this Women Reservation Bill 2023. Tanmay.
The historical Nari Shakti Vandan Adhinayam bill has been passed in both houses of the parliament. The key provisions of this bill are: the bill seeks to reserve 33% seats for women in both Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies and the Delhi Assembly. The quota won't be applicable to Rajya Sabha or the state legislative councils. The reservation of seats shall come into effect after delimitation is undertaken and after the relevant figures from the first census have been published. The rotation of the seats reserved to women in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies shall take place after each subsequent exercise of delimitation. No two women MPs are allowed to contest one seat. The bill excludes reservation for women from the OBC category. The government said the bill is aimed to enable greater participation of women in policy making at state and national levels. The proposed bill has been pending for nearly 27 years, with the last concrete action being its passing in the Rajya Sabha in 2010.
See, very rightly Tanmay said various provisions of the bill, but one provision of the bill I would like to highlight upon is that it will come into effect only after the delimitation commission report is released and also the census is carried out. Why this bill is being linked with the delimitation commission? There has been debate in the parliament as well, and also in various academic circles there is a debate. So I thought I'll just highlight a bit on this dimension. See, understand, when you reserve 33% of the Lok Sabha seats for the women, there has to be a body to decide which constituency would be reserved for a particular woman. So that is when the question of, what you call transparency should come into play. Say for example, in the debate also, parliamentary debate, our Home Minister made this statement. Like, our OIC, who happens to be the Hyderabad MP from Hyderabad, representing MIM party in the legislature. For example, if the government decides Hyderabad would be a women constituency, then there will be a lot of political uproar. So, like one more example, Rahul Gandhi contests from Wayanad. So, over a period of time, both these leaders would have had a very strong following base for them. And if these constituencies are reserved for women at the drop of the hat, and it is a government decision to reserve them, then there would be lot of what you call judicial uproar and political uproar, and unnecessarily the bill will end up in the walls of judiciary. So to avoid any of these discriminations and political allegations by various parties and individuals, very rightly the government has decided only after the delimitation commission gives its report, the bill will come into act. And one more major dimension about the bill is, because it has got it will affect the women who are spread across the country, the bill would also need concurrence of more than half the states of our country. So that is also a very important factor. So it is not yet over, though it has been passed in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Yes, it is a historic moment for all of us, because it is the first time that it has been passed in both the houses in a special session of the parliament that was held by the government. Okay? Now, I would request Lasya to throw some light on the positive effect of passing such a historic bill in a diversified country like India. Over to Lasya.
As the traditional societies consider men and women are two wheels of the family, same way men and women are considered as two wheels of the nation.
Good.
So this bill gives that opportunity for women to run the nation on their part. So it reduces the criminalization of politics.
Yeah, very beautiful point. Exactly.
It reduces the criminalization of politics, and it gives a role model to the upcoming generations that women are also capable of doing things.
Okay.
And it allows the lower class women and lower caste societies to come up and to express their opinions and express their problems effectively, since it is a woman representative sitting in the place.
Yeah.
It also reduces the cultural biases. It also reduces more and more women to come into the empowerment, more and women to empower and come into employment. And it also tells about the societal attitudes will be reduced, stereotypes will be broken of women, stereotypes of women will be broken.
That's good. Very rightly brought out by Lasya. The biggest advantage of the positive of this is the breaking of stereotype. Women has historically been considered as a private property of men, and because politics happens to be a public domain, the entry of women into politics, which is considered to be a political, as a public domain, on the dimensions of constitutional right of a woman, as Tanmay was saying, it is a constitution amendment bill. We are amending the constitution and giving the women right to be in the public domain as a matter of constitutional right. So if that happens, lot of stereotype breaking will definitely happen. Very rightly brought out by Lasya. One more, attitudinal change of the society. This attitude of the society that women belong to a family, they are only meant for rearing children, they are only meant or confined to the boundaries of a family, that stereotype will also be broken. So it will usher a very broad perspective of women in our Indian society. Anybody wants to object to any critical perspective what Lasya said? Anybody? Yeah, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Lokesh. So as Madam Lasya said, that 2 points, decriminalization of politics. We might thinking that people who have criminal records are elected as a representative of people.
Okay.
But we have any guarantee that after getting elected,
They will not end up doing
any criminal activities?
So very rightly Lokeshwar is saying that what is the guarantee that madam once women get elected they will not engage themselves or involve in any criminal acts. Very rightly so. We hope it doesn't happen. Lokeshwar, we hope it doesn't happen. Yeah, even Yash has some critical points to give. Yeah, Yash.
As my friend Lasya said, in our society, it is said to be same wheels. Men and women are same wheels. When we are already accepting that they are same wheels, then why there is a need for reservation? Why there is a need for pushing them through the path of reservation? We understand that they are already enabled, they are already empowered. So
you feel that there is no need to seek for reservation if you feel you are being part of a wheel.
yes.
Okay. That's a good point. That's actually good.
And the name of the bill, the Nari Shakti Vandan Abhiyan Adhiniyam, the name says they are already Nari Shakti. Now we are respecting the Nari Shakti.
Okay.
So the thought that they need reservation to come into mainstream is itself not justified, considering they are already empowered since ancient times.
Okay. So he feels otherwise, Lasya. He says that your bill says it is Nari Shakti. he says that, the bill says it is Nari Shakti. When it is Nari Shakti, then why are you seeking reservation? That's what his point of view. As a critical, just to raise a critical voice, I think he has every right to raise that issue. Probably he is hinting at a point that maybe, I am assuming this, yes, he is trying to hint at a point that if you want to give reservation, then why only 33%? Why only 33%? Because women constitute around 50% of our population. So if the population is 50%, then why are you limiting their appearance only till 33%? If it is Nari Shakti, a right of equality, give it 50%. Many countries have given. In the world, we have examples where countries have constitutionally mandated that the seats for the women would be reserved at 50%. But I think, yes, probably this is one baby step towards some Nari Shakti that we are aspiring for. But in future, maybe from 33, we'll gallop to 50%. Maybe you all will be in the very high holding positions. That time, you make it a point that it goes from 33 to 50%. Okay. Any other points you have to tell? You want to counter?
Yes.
Yeah, she wants to counter. Good.
Sir, if it is like like Nari Shakti, then why are they socially and culturally confined to homes?
Maybe the Shakti is, we want Shakti from home also. Yeah. You also have a point. Very good. Manisha wants.
33% is reserved for women, though they can participate in other positions also without reservation. So what is the need of 50%?
Okay, you mean to say that
Promote meritocracy.
maybe it will come at the cost of meritocracy. That's what she is trying to say. Her question is very simple. She is questioning that if you give 33% now and if you future you make it 50%, what is the guarantee that the remaining 50% that the men are holding, they are holding it as a matter of right because 50% have to be men, or it has to be based on merit? See, frankly speaking, reservation, that's what, if you remember, we discussed in the society, in one of the essay classes, if you remember, charity is a reflection of injustice that has been done in the past, right? Probably one of our essay topics this year also. It says that in a society, if you are seeing charity happening, it means historically there has been some injustice that has happened. So because we all know that the women were victims where they were not given their justified position in the political spectrum. So this is an effort of the government to give their rightful place. So whether it is 33%, whether it is 50%, I'll be very happy to see all my MPs, future MPs, the so-called golden figure 888, all of them to be women. Probably I'm sure no Pakistan can dare to look at us, no China can dare to enter our territories. But it is a progressive ladder. We will have to wait for some time, some things to fall by. Then it will progressively surely happen, right? So even in that 33%, I strongly feel some checks and balances should be brought where merit is not counted. Just because a candidate is a woman, she should not get the right to contest elections. Some checks and basic, the way we had for the Panchayati Raj elections, minimum education qualification, we had prescribed 5th standard, right? We have prescribed 5th standard education. Maybe some checks and balances should be brought in, so that it should not become another Sarpanch Pati dimension. That's the idea, that people should not be holding the office only on namesake and somebody else is running the office on their behalf. That should not be the case, and I am hopeful that will not be the case. Okay. Yeah. Yes. You have any more points?
Prior to considering the implementation prospects which you mentioned, sir, it is also a point that now 50% states have to be ratified, and then considering the current landscape of country, it is assumed, or it can be said that it is a political tool by the government to garner the votes. And also, as happened in 2019 elections, the EWS reservation and the CAA bill which was passed and not notified, this bill might also run in the same direction. So the timing of the bill is questionable, though the intent is very appreciated.
So So you are basically questioning the timing of the bill by the government. Why this bill has not been tabled in the parliament when the government came into office in 2019?
Yes.
So why the government waited for 4.5 years to complete in the office, then brought a bill? See, I also personally I agree with him. One more dimension I would like to throw light to all the students listening to us is, see, political will can do wonders in this country. The bill that struggled for 27 years, when the political will to bring it came, a special session was convened, and within 3 days, both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, they almost everybody except for 2 MPs from the Lok Sabha, it was unanimously voted to in favor of. Why this political will was missing in the last 27 years? So very rightly he says that the government is using it as a political tool to garner the votes of the women contestants. Probably this, he may be technically right also, but I only presume that this may not be the intention of the government. It is my presumption, I cannot say anything, but I also see that the political will was missing in the past, and that is visible now. Now the bigger question is, why now? The bigger question is, why now? And one more very important dimension he brought in was that the Citizenship Amendment Act was enacted, passed by the Parliament, but not yet notified till date. So 2019, 2023, 4 years have passed. The Act not getting notified does not come into play. So if that be the case, will this Women Reservation Bill will also be another Citizenship Amendment Act? That's what, and he's got a very right apprehension about the intention of the government. I also agree with his point of view in this particular dimension. Any more else? I think the critics are more than the positive. Lasya, I think you must speak. Huh?
We can.
You can. Okay. I also want somebody to give a brief perspective of the world where women are leading the politics. Anybody? Yeah, Manisha.
As an international perspective, there are women reservations for Sweden, Norway, South Africa, Australia, nearly to 30 to 40% in every country. And in New Zealand and Iceland, when the women prime ministers were there, the COVID was rightly handled and well handled.
So you mean to say the presence of women on the top of political spectrum, they were able to handle, critical situations better than
Yes,
men?
yes, sir.
So, I agree with Manisha on this point when she says that, like we had an example, very beautiful example of a country called New Zealand. The number of deaths in New Zealand due to COVID were minimum. When the so-called superpowers like America, the Western European countries, they struggled to control this COVID pandemic situation, and probably New Zealand was one of the first countries that banned the arrival of anybody from China as a measure to stop the spread of COVID in their country. So I think it was one of the bold moves. So what Lasya was also trying to bring in a point, the capability of taking bold decisions is rightly so more naturally present in women than men. So I agree with both of them, and New Zealand is a classic example where the world has seen that minimum deaths due to COVID happened in one of the largest countries like New Zealand. So it is a very positive dimension that she brought about. And also about a Kerala experience also we have, where the health minister was a woman, and there is a time now in Kerala, there are 10 districts in Kerala, and in all the 10 districts the collectors are women. So it is a very beautiful combination of legislature and executive being very beautifully led by women. So this is a classic example, as she was trying to bring, why not only women? Why not only women? So I agree with you. Any other points related to international? You want to?
I want to add to what
Yeah.
Manisha told, and in the Indian context, we have seen Indira Gandhi, who has taken bold moves, Indo-Pak, Indo-China,
Yes.
no other counterpart.
The establishment of RAW.
So the counterparts, they were, I would not say they were not productive, but the bold moves were mostly taken by Indira Gandhi, though ideologically she was different from her father Jawaharlal Nehru.
Yes. Yes.
So it doesn't always need to be no push.
Okay, it can be an innate personality of a person also. So very rightly Tanmay is saying that we should not be, genderizing personalities. She gave a very classic example of, we had a leader called Indira Gandhi. She was probably one of the first prime ministers who demanded equal status for our country. And her predecessor, her father, Lal Bahadur Shastri, those both the prime ministers who could not bring that equality dimension for our nation, probably it was Indira Gandhi who brought this. The establishment of RAW, be it the 1971 liberation of East Pakistan, be it any bold decisions that were taken controlling the situation of illegal migrants that were coming from Bangladesh, and so many, very beautifully the way she controlled the Maoism. It is said that during emergency, the Maoism to some extent had come to a grinding halt because of her bold decisions. So I completely agree with Tanmay that we should not be genderizing personalities. It may be a man or a woman, they should have that capacity to take bold decisions. This is what you wanted to say? Okay, good. You were trying to tell something, Lokesh? Yeah, please.
As last year said that she compared India with some other countries. Manisha. She compared India with some other countries. They have more reservation than India. So what I feel is India is a unique country. I think we should not compare India with any of the country in this world, because we have a very different historical reasons, geographical reasons. We have lots of porous borders. We have, might be their historical reasons, their cultural background is very much different than ours. I think we are obsessed with the culture and a tradition that we followed since from the long history.
So you are saying that we should not. Basically, you are saying that we should not bring in a Western template of reservation of women. We should also be mindful of our cultural past. This is what you are trying to say. Okay, good, agreed. Very beautifully brought out point, Lokeshwar. He has a valid point, because India has been a patriarchal country. So suddenly giving a position of power to women might disturb the social structure of our country. So we should be mindful whenever we try to take any decision that affects the social structure of our country. Okay, very beautifully brought out, Lokesh. Anybody else? Yeah, you have a point.
Considering that the bill is implemented and there are constituencies allocated on women reservation, for women reservation, but India being a democracy, the choice of voters is compromised, because a voter is forced to elect candidates among women. So in this case, being a critic, I also find myself in a position to suggest an alternative, where in an international scenario, in Nordic countries like Sweden and Norway, there is no reservation in the parliament or in the legislative body exactly, but there the reservation is in the internal party within the party there is reservation, and we can see that 46% of candidates in the parliaments are women. So imposing this reservation in a parliamentary in the constituency or in the domain of parliament as a constitutional right, it may restrict the choice of voter, and it may hamper the point of being a democratic country and the choice of being democratic voter.
You want to negate?
So whatever he said, the voters don't have a choice. We always have the option called nota. And secondly, talking, most of the politicians, I would not say most, but we have criminalization of politics. We are forced to vote amongst them. It doesn't make any difference now. Even like we are forced to vote among two criminal politics.
Okay.
I'm not making a big statement, but when we are forced to vote in that way, it's the same thing. It's almost same.
Okay. So Yash was trying to tell that when a particular constituency, for example, Bangalore, as a constituency, the city is, declared to be a women constituency. So he says a voter in that constituency is forced to accept a woman against his or her will. It could be her also, against their will. So, but what Tanmay was trying to tell is, there is always an option of nota, none of the above. So she says, if a woman is not, contributing in the progress of that constituency, the voter always have the right to go for none of the above. And obviously, even if that woman gets elected once, next the voters will definitely not vote to her, definitely, if the popularity of that lady diminishes as a result of her non-performance. This is what you wanted to say? Okay. So there are natural checks and balances, and some implied in terms of nota is also there. Any other critical dimension? You want to contest this point?
Yes.
Okay.
As my friend Tanmay said, there is also an option of nota, but can we understand the consequences if it is a reserved constituency? Both the women from any of the parties are, both the candidates from the parties are women, and people vote for nota. Nota gets the highest votes, and the election is not concluded. Then we have to incur one more. We have to conduct one more election. The process gets elongated, extended, and then it results in some other consequences of decision making at the national level. So,
Sir, rather than going for the nota, even though if Yash is saying that they may vote for nota, and reject the candidate. But without seeing the performance, how can they choose nota, and how can they believe that they were forced to choose some woman candidate?
because it is a reserved constituency.
Maybe this problem may come in the first election, yes. Maybe say once a constituency is notified as a women reserved constituency, see, I don't think a woman will come out of the blue and stand as an MP. I am sure whosoever is chosen by the party to be the representative of their party would be already a contributing member. So her presence, her acceptance would be there, maybe at a lower level. It is only that she's now got a ticket to contest. So assuming that the acceptance may not come, it could be partially for the first election. Imagine Bangalore being declared as a women constituency. Imagine next time how many women would come forward to, to stand for election. So it will have a very strong positive ripple effect, if not in the first election, definitely in the, believe me, if this goes in the 2029, 2034 election, entire spectrum of competition would be completely different. Why? Because 33% is not a small number, right? 33% means in some ways women will decide who will be the leader. Believe me, it will happen, because the BJP that is in power, it got what, 41%? So understand, indirectly the power to decide who is going to be a leader. Maybe we will get a prime minister from there. Why are we negating that possibility? During the discussion, Tanmay was saying, you were saying about, women not holding important positions in the present. Do you want to throw some light on that?
So, throughout the years, the major portfolios in the government have not been given to women, except for, namesake when we say finance ministry or external affairs ministry. And
finance ministry is a very big portfolio, Tanmay, understand, the country runs on finance. Okay.
But most of the home affairs, such things have not been given to women, and all of a sudden we talk about political empowerment. It's just sad to listen to such things.
We had given defense ministry also to somebody.
Sushma Swaraj? No.
Women was a defense minister? Was she? No? Okay. Yeah, please. Tanmay asked for Home Ministry, our country gave Defense Ministry. So probably Tanmay did not remember that. And we also had, Sushma Swaraj. We had, Lok Sabha speakers, very eminent personalities, Meera Kumar. Right? So it is not that women have not held important positions, Tanmay. I understand when it comes to numbers they may not be holding, but believe me, I admired Sushma Swaraj as an external affairs minister. The ideology that she upheld, the way she upheld the head of India very, very high. There was a lot of disturbance in the West Asia. Indian diaspora was, directly affected. She rose to the occasion, the call for the country, and she contributed. You have your Nirmala Sitharaman doing the job of finance minister today. So understand, lot of things come into play when the country chooses a minister for that portfolio. I am not saying women are not competent. Maybe in the existing, structures we couldn't find any. But definitely with the women reservation bill coming up, maybe just see, in the evolution process of a country, we cannot be in a hurry. We should give 10 to 15, 20 years for anything to bring that desired change. Maybe by the time 2040, 2050 elections come, there will be a time, believe me, and I am very hopeful that your home, finance, defense and foreign will be held by women. And it is my dream to see this country being led by, because these four are most important portfolios in the central structures, right? So the time is not very far that we will have all four of them being led by a woman. And I hope that time comes as early as possible.
But it's been 75 years since we got independence.
Let's start the birthday from when this bill.
It's not a 1 day, 2 day thing. It's been 75 years, and now we are throwing light on reservations.
We have a feminist talking here. Yeah. Okay, sure.
Sir, as Tanmay said that women are neglecting giving ministry to them, ministerial position to them, rather than giving to the woman. Why not a right person who have right knowledge, good amount of merit?
Merit should be the deciding factor.
If we select a woman as a home minister or a defense minister, what in case if a terrorist activity or an Naxal activity happen when she doesn't have any knowledge on controlling that?
There should be a chance at least to prove herself.
I don't agree with him completely. See, understand, I just now spoke. Indira Gandhi, the way she controlled Maoism, believe me, the Northeast insurgency to larger extent was under control. Many things had happened. But because of some political compulsion, she took some other decisions. If had that dimension not been there, even the Northeast insurgency, Maoism would have come to a grinding halt. The way she controlled your Khalistan movement, believe me, ever since 1984, the Khalistan movement could never take a rebirth in India. So she completely wiped out the entire roots of Khalistan. So I spoke early also, it is primarily the personality and not the gender of an individual that decides the capacity to run a country. If it is Indira Gandhi, I want 1,000 more Indira Gandhis to this country. Why? Because she as a national leader always stood up to the cause of the country, right? So it is not the gender, it is primarily the merit of an individual to hold a particular position. But mind you, Lokeshwar, you made one statement, our politics is not designed based on merit. Understand this. That is the reason why you have a separate executive that is based on merit. The legislature per se is primarily based on popularity and not merit. So you cannot say a finance minister should have a degree or post graduation in finance. A defense minister should have served the country as an army, navy or air force officer. So that requirement is not mandated as per our constitution. So it is basically the popularity. So, and these four positions, home, finance, defense, see, these are very, they are part of the cabinet. You understand the meaning of cabinet. So they should be all those 5 people, including the Prime Minister, though the bodies may be 5, the souls have to be one. So they should be thinking in a particular direction, all of them. So if you forcefully bring a woman and try to bring in some disturbance, it will not be correct. Forcefully. I am not saying women will not think like them, but maybe she will bring in a different perspective that may be needed for that group. But understand, putting women in a particular place just because she is a woman may not be the right perspective. Okay? But at the same time, if she has the merit, if she has proved the popularity, then she should not be denied that position only because she is woman. What she is trying to say is that in the past 75 years, the country has denied women their rightful place just because she was a woman. So that should not be the case. That's what I personally want to say.
It was not bed of roses for Indira Gandhi when she came up to power. Though popularity,
See,
though everything.
yeah, very right. She says that when Indira Gandhi entered into politics, it was not a bed of roses for them. Believe me, Congress made towering personalities. Kamraj, Nanjappa, they were very, Morarji Desai. They were towering personalities in front of Indira Gandhi. She literally fist fighted with everybody and rose to become the Prime Minister of a country. So it is about personality. It is about personality. At the end of the day, it comes to personality, be it a man or a woman. Anything last you would like to say?
Without even giving them opportunity, like without even seeing their work and not letting them contest, అంటే కంటెస్ట్ చేయకుండానే ఇంత డిస్కషన్ చేయకుండా కంటెస్ట్ చేసిన తర్వాత మాట్లాడితే బాగుంటుంది.
Okay. So, yeah, please.
They are already allowed to contest, sir. Nobody is stopping them to contest.
Social restrictions that were రుద్దబడి ఉన్నాయి కదా సార్ సోషల్ రెస్ట్రిక్షన్స్.
What Lasya is trying to say is that women, if they are given as a matter of right 33%, let them contest, let them come, let them prove. What Yash is trying to say is, nobody stopped women even now to contest. But what Lasya is rightfully saying is that the social restrictions did not allow a woman. If that restrictions are removed and if a seat is given to her as a matter of right, she will prove herself and then try to come back. Do you want to counter any Panchayati report with the facts? Do you have any? Okay, good.
Regarding allowing women as a part of reservation, the 73rd and 74th amendments of Constitution gave them reservations in the local bodies, and it is a understood fact that first point is that they are acting as a proxies in majority of the cases. Second point, the official statement of Panchayat Raj Ministry says that once a woman is elected as a sarpanch of a gram panchayat with reservation, and that panchayat is de-reserved in the next election, then the percentage of re-election of women in a de-reserved gram panchayat is only 15%. It also says that 85% of women who are elected are first timers. So this statistics have a deep understanding and impact as it is coming from official ministry. So it should also be considered and evaluated on due prudence basis.
So Yash is basically trying to say that as per Panchayati Raj Ministry's report, 85% of the women who contested in a reserved panchayat elections, 85% of them were first timers. It means the political experience is missing. And in the subsequent election, if that panchayat is de-reserved for women, the chances of the same women coming back to power is only 15%. So I think somewhere it tries to address your issue that you have raised, they should be given a chance. Maybe, I am not saying everybody, maybe most of them or maybe some of them could not prove themselves to the mandate. I am not saying only prove, it could be as a result of prejudice also. It could be as a result of prejudice that they could not come back to power again. So maybe it is a matter of time when it is replicated at the national level. We will have to see how the women perform in a reserved constituency for them. We will have to wait and watch for that. Yeah. Lokeshwar, let's give a chance to Lokeshwar. Yeah.
friend yes said that 85% of the women who are contesting in the local body elections are first timers. So why not giving them a chance? So let's take an example of so-called leaders, so powerful leaders in current situation. Once they are also first timers in the elections. So giving the chance is good, but in the merit basis, giving the ministry is good.
So they are given a chance, but are they given to take decisions? Are they given power to take decisions?
Yeah, that's also my point, because even in my own, I come from a village, so we have a woman as a sarpanch, but I don't want to reveal the names, but the respective family member is the only decision making power. On paper, it is the signature of a woman.
Okay.
So they
the Sarpanchpati culture.
yes, sir.
So it should not be replicated at the national.
Yes. Last point I would like to add as a critique, the point which my friend Lasya said, the socio-economic strata of women who are at the lower stages of society, they also have a chance to come into the political mainstream as a part of this reservation. So, but the fact is that the bill which is proposed, it does not include any subcategorization of reservations for OBCs or SC/STs. Even though in existing SC/SC quota, the 33% will be allowed, but the OBCs and other castes are not subcategorized as part of women reservation. So that should also be considered when finally implementing the bill.
In fact, our Home Minister also spoke on this when he made a statement that this is not the final. There would be some small amendments that we would be doing even after the bill is passed by the Parliament. As he rightly brings in the SC/ST, the OBC. What about we all know today politics is a costly affair. Winning contesting for an MP seat or an MLA seat, it runs in multiples of crores. So how are we expecting a middle class, a lower middle class, or a woman from a poor family daring to come up and contest this election? Some things need to be done. Maybe this discussion is opening into another discussion, state-sponsored elections. So maybe we are heading towards that state-sponsored election when the financial might of a candidate will not be a deciding factor in the final election of any contesting candidate. Very right point. Yes, I completely agree with you. See, we all are you all are students. We as a teacher, being a politician probably never struck any of us. Why? Because primarily either it is being seen as a dirty pool of water, or probably we would have thought we don't have that financial muscle to fight and win an election. So probably if these dimensions are also taken care of, a common man can also gather courage to very confidently go and file his nomination for an MP's position. So that day, I personally feel that would be the real birth of democracy in India. That would be a real birth of democracy in India. You are trying to tell something? Anyone? Yes.
I have pointed out critical points. That doesn't mean I am opposing this bill. Personally, I also support women to be in the ruling positions in the decision-making authorities. But my intention was just to give a look upon the drawbacks of the bill, upon the considerations to be made, and finally, everyone is hopeful that this bill gets passed and implemented in its right intention.
I take this opportunity to conclude today's group discussion on Women's Reservation Bill. Thank you. It's a very big thanks to all the participating students who have come forward to be part of this group discussion. And I rightfully, as Yes said, I also hope that this Women Reservation Bill will usher into an era where women will lead our country from the front, and they will contribute positively towards our nation building. So with this, we, the students and faculty at ekamiasacademy, take your leave. We'll soon come back with some other topic group discussion with some other set of students. Thank you for listening to all of us. It's been a very good board, I was expecting some very fist fighting in the group discussion, which did not happen. But it's good all of you have contributed. All the points are very much rightfully brought out by all of you. But it is a matter of time that we wait and see how this women reservation bill actually becomes an act and how it is reflected in the reality. Right? Thank you very much. Thank you all of you for joining us. Thank you. Jai.